Ram Ram Digari Ram Ram Digari Ram Ram Digari Ram Ram
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Please accept my
Krishna, good.
humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Try. We can get going, Ishan Prabhu, if you can introduce the topic, and we'll get right into it.
Okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahapadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurata She Namaha Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha Jagadatai Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today I'd just like to read a little bit from the Nectar of Devotion. This very beautiful way that the Srila Prabhupada begins by defining what is pure devotional service. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 29th chapter, the 10th verse, Srila Kapila Dev, while instructing his mother, has given the following characteristics of pure devotional service. My dear mother. So the topic is, what is pure devotional service? My dear mother, those who are my pure devotees and who have no desire for material benefits or for philosophical speculation, they have their minds so much engaged in my service that they're never interested in asking me for anything except to be engaged in that service. They do not even beg to live in my abode with me. So this is pure devotional service. So those who are my pure devotees, no desire for material benefit. That's explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kaitava Dharma, the cheating religions. Srila Prabhupada explains that those practitioners, they're cheated. They can never go back home, back to Godhead, because they want some kind of material benefit. So everyone is approaching God in the different religions, whether it's Hindu, Christian, Muslim, whatever. They all want some material benefit, and they pray for that. That they think of God as Amazon.com, and big Amazon.com to fulfill all our desires. So pure devotional service is not approaching God for anything material. As long as we approach God for making our material life nice, one way or another, to have a good husband, to have a safe, have a better job, to have more money, to have good health, to have power in social dealings like politics, economic development. There's so many different ways of approaching Krishna, approaching God for material benefits. And everyone is doing it in all of the different classical religions on the planet. And nobody understands that the goal of life is to go back home, back to the spiritual world. But what is the qualification? The qualification is only to have love of God. The qualification is to take pleasure in Krishna's pleasure. In other words, it's not a question of being austere, that denying ourselves our fulfillment and putting that aside and being just good boys and girls, so to speak, and wanting to please Krishna. No, it's not like that at all. It's described. They're not interested in asking me for anything except to be engaged in that service. They don't even beg to live in my abode with me. So it's described that Krishna has, before we go there, and philosophical speculation means desire to merge into the absolute truth. So why do people want to merge into the absolute truth? There's two kinds of people in the material world. One group, they want to enjoy the material nature, and they approach God for helping them to enjoy the material nature. In this way, they're cultivating their attachment to material life. Through their religion, they're cultivating their attachment to living in this material world. Therefore, it's guaranteed that when they leave their body, they're going to return to the material world. And the material world is filled, the material world is a place, dukkhalayam ashashvatam. It's miserable. The miseries of the mind, the miseries of the body, the miseries that other living entities inflict on our mind and body, whether it's a mosquito or whether it's a war, other living and everything in between, other material. Just like I was going on my porch, we're living in the country. So this summer we didn't have, but in other summers, a rattlesnake is coming on the porch. So there's so many difficulties with and the difficulties of the mind, the difficulties of the body, the difficulties of other living entities to our mind and body. Just like now there are wars on the planet. There's always wars on the planet. Human beings are killing other human beings. This is the material world. They fight. and and the miseries of the body, mind, with other living entities and materials difficulties because of the providence, the demigods. If we don't, just like we have uh, uh, forest fires, we have tidal waves, which cover a whole shoreline where there's a village, tidal wave. Uh, then you have volcanoes. Volcanoes can cover people with molten lava. Then you have earthquakes. The earth can open and swallow a whole village or city. All buildings breaking. And so then we have COVID. We have plagues. There are so many different. Uh, so then there's floods. and then people's houses are in California. I was seeing on the news um, during the winter time, some months back, that the houses on the hillside, the water was so much that the hillside was dissolving and beautiful houses were collapsing. So, so this is, and then the threefold miseries. And then even if we made the material world, it's so nice that these miseries were not there. There's still birth, old age, disease, and death. So, and people are trying so hard to be happy. Everyone is trying so hard to be happy, to enjoy life. But there's so many afflictions and so many material miseries. So other side of the coin, trying to enjoy. And of course, everyone's in terrible anxiety. Always anxiety. Spiritual world is Vaikuntha. Kunta means anxiety. And Vai means not anxiety. So the spiritual world, there's no anxiety because these problems are not there. But here we're always dukkhalayam ashashvatam, always miseries. From the highest planet, Krishna says, to the lowest, all are places of misery where birth and death occur. So an intelligent person, everyone's trying to make adjustments. So we should make the ultimate adjustment that if we leave this place, all these problems are automatically solved. So then there's another class of people that they're not trying to enjoy. They're a little more intelligent, seemingly, that they're actually recognizing that this material world is a miserable place. So their adjustment is to, that they're thinking, oh, I have this personality, I have this individuality, I have this ego, this sense of self. So if I can eradicate this sense of self and simply merge into the existence of God and give up all sense of identity, then my problems will all be solved. They're thinking that the problems of life is because we're individual entities and individual beings. So that they cannot think that in the spiritual world there's individuality, but it's blissful. It's Vaikuntha. They're thinking that kunta, or anxiety, misery, pain, suffering in so many ways, is because we're individual. They're not understanding that the problem is not our individuality. The problem is that we're living in the material world. All the variety of the material world exists in the spiritual world. Janma diyasya jataha. That the absolute truth is the source from which everything is coming. So if individuality is coming from, and personality is coming from the source, therefore these things exist in the source. Common sense. If I'm shopping at Walmart for my food, and if I have apples in my fridge, it means there's apples at Walmart. Whatever exists in this world exists in the source. Individuality, personality, relationships, all kinds of relationships. So for those who think that the problem is that I'm an individual, they want to to merge and to become God. They want to merge into God and become God. Brahmasmi. So here in this definition given by Srila Kapila Dev, while instructing his mother, he says, those who are my pure devotees, they have no desire either for material benefit or for this philosophical idea that I can merge with God. They're not in either camp. What is their camp? Their minds are engaged in my service. That so much engaged in my service that they're never interested in asking me for anything. So what is it that makes them be like that? Are they austere? Are they trying to be good people? Uh, Giving up their desires for things, giving up their desire to eradicate their individuality, giving up their desire to wanting to enjoy the material world in so many ways. What makes them feel that all they want is to be engaged in that service, and they're asking for it? Why? Because it's described as the spirit soul, the individual spirit soul, which we all are, is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like the hand is part of the body. The hand needs nourishment. If the hand feeds the body through the mouth, the nourishment of the hand is automatic. It's a feedback loop. If we give our love, all that Krishna wants from us, all that God wants from us, is our love. Actually, He has created us only for that purpose. He likes to be loved, just like we like to be loved. Otherwise, Krishna doesn't need anything. He has everything. He doesn't need anything. He has everything. But he has the desire for pleasure. It's a Shakti. Shakti means energy of the Lord. Hladini Shakti. Hladini Shakti. The pleasure energy, pleasure potency, potency, the power to enjoy. Krishna has this power to enjoy. It's one of his energies. And his energy takes the form of the objects of his enjoyment. Srimati Radharani is part of Krishna. She's non-different from Krishna. She's his pleasure potency, his pleasure, his ability to enjoy. And what does he like? He likes to be loved. And so when we give our love to Krishna, it's like the hand feeding the body. That's only an example, of course, to give us the understanding that when the part of the whole gives service to the whole, the part automatically receives the benefit. When we give our love to God, when we give our love to Krishna, we feel spiritual pleasure. It's such a great pleasure that the pure devotees are describing that they're diving and surfacing in a great ocean of ecstasy. Imagine. So this is why they're not interested in asking, the pure devotee is not interested in asking Krishna for anything except to be engaged in that service because they love it. It makes them so happy. It fills them with so much bliss. It fills them with so much bliss, and they have so much love for Krishna that sometimes that there are symptoms of ecstasy. Hair standing on end, voice becoming choked up, you can't speak properly. Body becomes stunned, can't move the muscles. So the pure devotees, they have so much love for Krishna that they're trying to resist these symptoms because it's interfering with their service. They're not looking for spiritual pleasure, but they're inundated with spiritual pleasure. They're not looking for anything. They just have love of Krishna. So that's for this reason they are not interested in asking Krishna for anything. They don't even want to go to the spiritual world. They're not asking for that. Krishna, you can put me wherever you like, but let me have this service to you. They're in love. They're in love with Krishna. So they're not even asking to return to the spiritual world. They don't mind to take birth here millions of times, but as long as all they want is to have this sense of service, because devotional service is so nice. It's described that Srimati Radharani has this great love of Krishna. Krishna is the expression of Krishna's desire for pleasure. He wants to be loved. So Krishna said, if we read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Krishna says, I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I have this unlimited spiritual bliss. God is ecstatic. He says, but Srimati Radharani, my pleasure potency, Mahladini Shakti. Her pleasure is so much greater than mine. From loving me, she gets so much pleasure. Much more pleasure than I have. I'm the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as Srimati Radharani, in the role of my servant, her spiritual bliss is so much greater than mine. So, it's explained, desiring to understand the glories of Srimati Radharani's love for himself. And also, what else? Srimati Radharani, she sees all of Krishna's wonderful qualities. Krishna has 64 different qualities. They're all described in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasam Rita Sindhu. Sindhu, the ocean. Ocean of what? It's an ocean of nectar. Where is that nectar? The nectar is coming from the bhakti, from the devotion. Those who are absorbed in devotional love are swimming in an ocean of nectar. The ocean of the nectar of devotion that is tasted by those who have pure love of Krishna. So it described that Krishna has so many wonderful qualities in the nectar of devotion. They're listed by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. Actually, he comes from the spiritual world. He had spiritual identity, Rupa Manjari. A very, Manjaris, they're cowherd girls, gopis, but they're very young, 12, 13 years old, maybe younger. So Srila Rupa Goswami, his identity is he's this Manjari, Rupa Manjari. So anyways, explain that Srimati Radharani, she's desiring to understand the glories of her love, the wonderful qualities in Krishna that she alone can appreciate because of her love. Her love is so great. The more we love someone, the more we can appreciate their good qualities. In the material world, we're so busy being envious of each other that we can't appreciate that they're pure spirit soul. We just see their material qualities, and we see them in terms of the condition of our own heart. Everyone in the material world is filled with envy. Why are we envious of each other? Because we all want to be Krishna. And so we're all in competition. So we can try to put ourselves up, make ourselves feel higher by finding fault in others. Yeah, this is the nectar of the material. We're trying to taste nectar by being envious and hateful. It could be one to one, or it could be nation to nation. It's all an expression of our jealousy of Krishna. And that's why we're here in the material world, because we have this little bit of freedom that we can choose whether we want. Krishna created us to love, only to receive our love, but we said, why he should be the center of everyone's love? Why not I should be the center of everyone's love? So Krishna, he understands our mentality. It's only a small portion of the souls make this choice there. It's just like in the city, in every big city, there's a jail, a prison house. What is the prison house? It's not that the government doesn't want to have prisoners in the prison house, but the government knows that there will be always some portion of the population, smaller portion, that there's a constitution for every city. There are laws, every nation, how the citizens are relate to the state. What are their duties? What are their obligations? And what are their pleasures that they enjoy? What are their rights and what are their obligations? Rights to be happy. And this is called their constitutional position. There are those who cannot accept what is their constitutional position. They try to be happy by breaking their constitutional rules. So for them, so the city makes a place for them and to reform them. It's for reformation. The material world is here for our reformation. We are that that minority group. We're a minority group that of souls who are rebellious, who are envious of God. And we said, why can't we be God? So Krishna says, very good. And he makes a material world and he puts us here and says, now try and be God. But you're all in competition with each other. So you're envious of each other and hateful. So, so we're here. At the same time, Krishna really cares about us, just like a parent really cares about the children. Sometimes the parent has to discipline, but it's out of love. It's not because he wants to hurt the children. He wants the children to be happy. He tries to put them on the right track. So discipline. Yeah. So reformation. So we're here. Krishna has put us here. So Srimati Radharani, she is not like that. She only has unlimited love for Krishna. And there. So she says, trying to understand the glories of Krishna is saying, but she's so happy. She has so much pleasure loving me, desiring to understand the glories of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in Krishna that she alone can appreciate because of her love. Because she loves Krishna so much, she sees his qualities in a way that no other soul, spirit soul, can see. And then also the happiness she feels when she experiences the sweetness of Krishna's love for her. Krishna loves her so much. Krishna is totally captivated Krishna has created Srimati Radharani. It's his energy. She is an expression of his desire for pleasure. And she gives Krishna so much pleasure. He's totally captivated. But Krishna can see that by loving me, her pleasure exceeds my pleasure so many hundreds of times more. I want to understand her pleasure. Therefore, Lord Krishna came to the material world, feeling in the role, feeling the personality, that Sri Krishna is one, but he became two, Radha and Krishna. And then those two became one in the form of Lord Chaitanya is Krishna in the mood and feelings of Radharani. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya is experiencing Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna. This is what he wanted to. So the spirit souls, they're in their constitutional position, what they're created for, they're feeling so much spiritual pleasure. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean, the great ocean of nectar of devotion. That's who we really are. But right now it's dormant in us. It's in a sleeping state, but that's who we really are. So, so it's explained that though why we were talking, why they're not interested in asking for anything but to be engaged in that service. Their pure devotee wants nothing from Krishna except to be, because that service is so nice that Krishna wants to have it. God wants to have that sense of service because it's so fulfilling, it's so satisfying. It's to the heart. So this is Srimati Radharani. Her love for Krishna is like that. But there are other spirit souls. They also want to give. Srimati Radharani, she just wants to please Krishna, just like this prayer, a statement of Srila Kapila Dev. They're not interested in asking me for anything except to be in that service. What is Srimati Radharani's prayer? I do not know anyone except Krishna, except Govinda as my Lord. And I'll always relate to him in this way. Even if he makes me brokenhearted that I can't see him, or he may handle me roughly by his embrace, he may mistreat me in so many ways. I do not know anyone except Krishna as my Lord, and he will always remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or he may make me brokenhearted by not being present before me. I can't see Krishna. He's completely free to do anything and everything, but he's always my unconditional Lord. He's always my Lord unconditionally. So this is that she is saying what Lord Kapila is saying. that they don't want anything except to be a servant. They don't want anything except to be a servant. And by being a servant, the spiritual pleasure is so great. So great that Krishna himself wants to taste that. So we were talking about Srimati Radharani's love. But there's more souls in the spiritual world than Srimati Radharani and Krishna. Actually, there are unlimited millions and trillions of souls. Unlimited. So the souls in the material world are just a small amount of the souls that exist. We're just a small section, the rebels. So, but in the spiritual world, everyone wants to only Krishna's pleasure. That's their natural position. That's how they feel. We want our own pleasure. But in the spiritual world, everyone just desires to be pleasing to God. Or they enjoy his pleasure. So what do? They see Krishna and Radharani love each other so much. How can we make nice arrangements for their being together? Just like we say every morning we make this prayer. Nikunjayu Rati Kali Siddhai Yaya Libir Jaktir Rapekshaniya Tatrati Dakshar Patibalabhasya Pande Guru Sri Charanaravindam. That the spiritual master is very much expert in assisting the gopis who are engaged in the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal love affairs. At different times, they're making different tasteful arrangements for these wonderful spiritual exchanges. And our spiritual master is there to assist in these affairs. Imagine. This is a real spiritual master. He has his spiritual identity, and he's always participating in the perfection of Radha Krishna conjugal love affairs. We sing this every day. This is what a real spiritual master, we worship him because only from him we can learn these things. We say also, after that's the prayer we sing first, then we have Guru Puja, and we say, Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite, Avidya Vinashayate. We sing that from him, this love that he's feeling for Krishna, that he's making these arrangements for Krishna's exchange. That he's making. He has this love. He's sharing this with us. Prema Bhakti Ahoite. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. And if we can catch it from him, our material ignorance is destroyed. We're in illusion. We're identifying this body as me, this material bag of skin and bones, blood, stool, and urine, mucus, and vomit. And we're thinking this is me. So, but as soon as we have love of Krishna, this false identification with this bag of misery, it evaporates. As soon as we have love of Krishna, So we say, from him this Krishna Prem emanates. And if we can learn from him, avidya vinashayate, our ignorance is destroyed. Without separate endeavor, we don't have to struggle hard to break away from this illusion. All we have to do is have love in our heart for Krishna. As soon as there's love for Krishna, which is our real identity, our false identity goes away. Krishna consciousness is so nice like that one who has this consciousness is free without trying to be free. He's enjoying it and he doesn't want anything else. He just says, please let me have this. Please give to me. So those all souls in the spiritual world trying to make nice arrangements for Radha Krishna's conjugal love affairs. Of course, there's different ways in which devotees in the spiritual world have relationships with Krishna, but this Madhurya Rasa is the highest. Some are feeling that have a parental feeling of love for Krishna. Some have a feeling of that Krishna is my friend. I can wrestle with Krishna. We can do so many sports, playing games. But then in the gopis of Vrindavan, so it says that in our Chaitanya Charitamrita, that when Srimati Radharani has love for Krishna, her ecstasy is greater than Krishna's. And the cowherd, the manjaris, the gopis, they are trying to be assistants to Srimati Radharani for making tasteful arrangements. They like to see Radha and Krishna be happy together. It's explained that Srimati Radharani's pleasure by loving Krishna is so much greater than the pleasure of God himself. And the pleasure of those who are making arrangements for Radha and Krishna's conjugal love affairs is millions of times greater than Radharani's pleasure. It's inconceivable, but that's what's described. That everyone who, then it's their pleasure is so great that Krishna himself, that God himself wants to understand what is this devotional service. So this is what we're here to learn, something so great. And that is why that definition that we were reading by Srila Kapila Dev, they do not ask for anything, a pure devotee, except to be engaged in that service because it's so wonderful, so beautiful. So this is what's waiting for us. This is what's waiting for us as we advance in Krishna consciousness. So we should all be very happy, cheerful, enthusiastic. The more we approach Krishna consciousness with a mood of full enthusiasm, the more we will realize the nectar of devotion. Hare Krishna. Okay. Where do we go from here, Prabhu?
Well, thank you very much, Ishan Prabhu, for describing pure devotional service as per Prabhupada's nectar of devotion. unalloyed pure devotional service. Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha. Wonderful. Prabhupada manifested this great Krishna consciousness movement. The previous acharyas also did that. Now we're also aspiring for such a wonderful opportunity to associate in that way with Srila Prabhupada and with Krishna ultimately. So just some quick news from my side here. Oroville Center is going to be opening up pretty soon. We're in the closing phase. The property which I was looking at, the YMCA building, is going to be bought, and it's going to be bought and closed on by Wednesday, Thursday. We have a wonderful devotee named Kamala-san. He's also a devotee of Prabhupada. He was initiated by Srila Prabhupada, and he's going to be helping us fix it up. He has been doing construction work for many, many years. He has brought all his tools to Sacramento, and we're going to go out there and start, doing the things that need to be done. And let's see what else. And then the zoning as well. So zoning has been changed to mixed use from public quasi. So there can be both gatherings and people can stay as well.
Living.
Living facility, yes.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So that's all Srila Prabhupada's blessings. I wanted to do this for many years, so it has finally happened. And I'm also gonna have Yashodanandana come and do some initiations and wedding ceremonies all in one. So
that's great.
Thank you very much, Ishan Prabhu, for your guidance and support.
Thank you for giving me the chance, the opportunity. Really, it's very, very it's very important to talk about the Krishna consciousness. The person who's speaking, we learn in that way. It's one, and thank you.
Chai. So we'll continue our meeting next week, same time, 5 a.m. Pacific time, California time. And then we'll continue the discussion. Thank you very much, Ishan Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.